Hey everyone, in this first video we're going to do some Linux review, and specifically I'm going to go over your Linux review lab. I'll go through most of the steps in there, and I'll also add some gems along the way, some additional information, maybe a couple more commands or a couple different ways of using the command. But for the most part I will go over most of the labs. If you get stuck at any point you can come back to this video. And then also if you're looking for any specific explanation regarding commands in the lab and maybe some additional gems, as I said, you'll find them here. So the first part, my structure, these aren't all the commands that we're going to go over, but I'm looking at kind of structuring it possibly in 2 videos. We'll see how long it takes us. So we're going to start first with sort of our file manipulation or file and directory, maybe manipulation commands if you want to call them that. What I'm going to do first is I'll have the command listed here. I'll go through these commands real quick, and then I'll actually bring over a terminal window and we'll see how the commands work. So I don't want to just list a bunch of commands. I mean, you could read that, right? Let's see how they work and look at some of our output, but first we'll go through the commands we're going to use, and then we'll go ahead and use them. So our first command in this list is the man command. And the man command basically is used to get us to reference manuals. So if I want to know more about a particular command, I'll put man in front of it. When I do man and then a command, it's going to show the options and information for that command. The first command that we're going to end up using outside of man is the ls command, which lists the contents of the current directory. So if I do man space ls, I'm going to see all the options and information about the ls command. Now if I list the command first and do a space dash dash help, it's going to show a shortened summary of the command's options. So again, if I stick with my ls example, I would type ls space dash dash help, and I'm just going to see a shortened version of the information I saw using the man command. We have our pwd command, which is going to display the current working directory. Our cd command is the change directory command, and we'll use different options with the cd command. Echo displays a line of text, and we'll also use echo to put that text into a file, and specifically for us it's going to be a shell script. Cat command allows us to view, create, or concatenate files. Chmod is to change permissions. Chown is to change ownership. MV will allow us to move or rename a file. CP is for copy. RM is for remove. And Grep is to search in a file. And we'll use Grep with regular expressions to just find different things. Specifically, I think we're finding different things in our password file. If I use the caret symbol within our regular expression, or as part of that, we'll find whatever it is I'm looking for. So it'll be like caret and then a D, for example. And we'll go over the syntax when we go through the demonstration to find the D at the beginning of the line. $sign is to find it at the end of the line. A period or a dot is to match a signal character. And brackets will match particular character or characters. And like I said, things to keep in mind as you go through it, and things you want to remember so that you can just use them on your own later, and they just come to mind if you're not used to using them all the time. But we will go through them. So I'm going to go ahead and pull over a terminal window, and let's go through this lab specifically using these commands, and like I said, maybe a few extra along the way. Alright, so I just went and moved my terminal window over. The first command I want to use is what I talked about before, which was the man command. We're going to use it with our listing command, so we'll do man ls. And here we see, okay, the ls command does what I told you it did. It lists the directory contents. And then we have our different options. And I won't go through all of them. I'm just kind of going through a basic reading of it. If I use ls-a, it's going to list everything in the directory, ignoring entries starting with dot or period. I don't know. Those are hidden directories. So when I just do a list, it's just going to list it. So if I just do an ls, it's going to list it, and the hidden files are going to be hidden. If I do ls-a, then any hidden files or entries, right, will be shown. And then ones we're going to use, specifically here, we're going to use ls. We're going to use ls-l to get a long listing. we're going to use, I think R, we're going to use a reverse, which is, it's going to present it in the reversed alphabetical order. And we're going to actually list a particular, so we'll list the directory we're in, we'll list a different directory as well. So as we go through, we see all of our different information. Go ahead and hit Q to get out. Now let's do the help command. So ls help. And you can see, although long, it's still much shorter than what we originally had went through. So that's our summary. So again, man, to get all kinds of information. We won't go through it. Let's hit a Q. And then help to get the information, but get it in a more shortened version. Let's see what directory we're in. So which command do we use to figure out which directory we're in? We're currently in. Right, pwd. So we're in the home devask directory. Let's go ahead and list what's in that directory. So we'll do an ls. And now we see that we have desktop documents, downloads, labs, and snap. So let's list labs. So we'll do ls space labs. I know that labs is a directory, so we'll list the labs directory. Within the labs directory is DevNet dash src or source. Now let's do a long listing of our directory to see how it's different. So if I do an ls-l, we get a lot more information here, right? So here's just a basic listing. We get additional information. This first part is the user. The second part is the group. When we go back here, here's our permissions that we're going to use later. So let's go through them right now. The very first character indicates the file type. Well, first character indicates the file type. A dash indicates a regular file, whereas a D indicates a directory. So we know that desktop is a directory. In fact, every file right now in the devask directory is a directory, right? The next three characters are the permissions of the owner. The owner is the user devask. So they have read, write, and execute permissions. The next three are the permissions of the group. The group again is devask. We'll actually change that so you can see something different here to see that we can have a different user in a group. The devask group has read and execute permissions. And then lastly, the last three is everyone else. What are the permissions for others? For people that aren't in the user or the group, the others have read and execute permissions. And we'll need that later, so if it's not something you've been through before, we'll look at it again and we'll actually work with them a little bit. Now, let's list our things in reverse alphabetical order, or list our directory, our things. List-R to list in reverse alphabetical order. So you notice we started our listing when we just did an ls. First word was desktop. When we do an ls-r, the first one shown is snap. We can also use that with our long listing. So we'll do an ls-lr. We get our long listing in reverse order. All right, now let's start looking at our change directory, our cd command. We're going to change directory to the desktop. There we go. To the desktop directory. Or no, I'm sorry. We're going to change the directory to our documents directory. So cd space documents. Not even close to spelling that correctly. Not sure where that came from. Cd space documents puts us in the documents directory. If we type pwd to see what our current working directory is, we see that we're now in the documents directory. Now, if we want to move back to root, let's move all the way back to the root directory. We can do cd / enter. Now we type pwd again. We see that we're all the way back to the root directory. Now let's go back to let's go back to our documents directory. So cd space, so the directory is cd is home devask documents. So we'll do /home. I hit an H. Notice I hit an H and then I hit tab. So you could hit tab complete. And then I'll start devask next. Whoops. and documents. Oh, not enough there. Wait, yeah, that's where I wanted to go. There we go. You have to get the first couple letters. It has to be able to recognize it just as when you're doing the routers. So we're going to move back to the documents directory, and I've completed it. I've started with a couple letters and used tab afterwards to complete it, or to complete that portion of it. And we'll hit enter. So now we go to documents. You could also type the whole thing in. You could also do it part by part. I could have done cd home, and then from home, change directory to devask, from devask, change directory to documents, however you want to do it. The next part is we want to use the double dot characters or the double period characters to move up a single directory. So we're going to do cd space ... hit enter, and let's do pwd, and we'll see that we've moved up one directory from the documents directory back to the devask directory. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to hit the up arrow here. I'm going to go back to the documents directory. So the other thing we can do is string together these characters to move up more than one. So if I do cd space ... /... that was a dot or a period. I'm terrible at that stuff. What that's going to do is that's going to actually bring us back two directories. So, okay, so the first time we just do cd space ... we move up one directory to the devask directory. And then I went back to the documents to demonstrate going up a couple and then just seeing home. I suppose I could have, but so then I do a cd and I string together the ... So let's do a cd space ... /... actually brought us back to home, which is two directories up. I'm going to hit the up arrow one more time. I might be beating this one, I know, but I'm going to hit the up arrow again and go back to the documents directory. And we're going to go cd space ... /... Now where are we going to end up if we do this? Where in the directory structure, hold on one second. Let's just double check. I always like to verify. I know where we're at, but I like people to see it. So we're in the home devask documents directory. If I do cd space ... where are we going to end up in the file or in the directory system? Let's hit enter and find out. You can see it. We'll do it again. We'll do it anyway. All right, so we ended up in this case all the way back to root because we went up 3 times, right? We went up one directory 3 times. We went from documents to devask, from devask to home, and from home to root. So again, just to verify, when we did the 2 ... we went back to home. Then I took us back to the documents directory so that we could demonstrate going up three directories. So we went from home, went back to documents, and then we strung this together from documents and went all the way back to root. All right, I'm beating that one up. We'll move on. Next, let's look at changing file permissions and ownership. To demonstrate this portion, we're going to create a shell script within the documents directory, verify its contents, change its ownership, and then run the shell script. So let's first change to our directory, or our documents directory. We can hit the up arrow because you know I've had you go to documents a couple times now, so you just hit the up arrow to get back to that command, hit enter. And then let's go ahead and we're going to use the echo command to put the command ls ... /desktop inside of our file. So echo space and then ls space ... /desktop parentheses. So echo space parentheses ls space ... /desktop and parentheses. And we're going to redirect that. We're going to send that to myfile.sh. Let's view what's in the myfile using the cat command. So cat myfile.sh. And we can see that what we put here is in the myfile Now in order to run that, we've got to issue the command, or we type /myfile.sh, and we see we have permission denied. It must mean we don't have permission to execute our script file. Let's verify that. So if we do it ls-l, ls-l, myfile.sh, and we see that it's a regular file, not a directory. The user only has read-write permissions. The group only has read-write permissions, and others only have read permission. So we need to add execute permission to our my file. We'll use the chmod command to do that. Chmod space add x for execute myfile.sh. Now let's go ahead and run it. /myfile.sh, and it went ahead and ran. And what did it do? It listed the desktop directory. So now we've went over, what have we went over so far? We went over the man command, the pwd command, the help command, the ls command, extensively over change directory. We did echo. We'll do that some more, I think, here yet. We used the cat command. We used the chmod command. And now we're going to go ahead and use the chown command to change the ownership to root. So we're going to change the user owner to root with the chown command. Alright, so now let's go ahead and change our ownership of the file to the root. So right now the owner is, let's just do an ls-l, and we find my file, and the owner is devask. So let's change that to root. So sudo, going to need to be super user here, right? So sudo is short for super user do. We're going to go sudo space chown root myfile.sh. So now we've changed that. This is kind of the first time I think I brought up sudo, and now I just realized I don't know that it was in my PowerPoint. It's the list we were going to use. We are going to use this. If you find that you don't have ownership to do so, you can't do something you're expecting to do, you check the permissions, but also you may have to be super user to do it. So you'd use the sudo command, and we'll use that a few more times later in here. This is the first time we used it because we can't just type I'm not going to go through it. We can't just type these portion. We couldn't just type this portion without going into super user. So sudo is short for super user do. We do sudo chown root. So we change the owner. Now let's hit the up arrow twice to get our ls-l, and we should see that we now have changed the owner from where we were before. Now I've lost it already. There we go. Thank goodness these are color coded. Otherwise I'd have a worse time finding what I just typed. So far so good. Now we're going to go ahead and use the move, copy, and remove files command. We're going to first move the myfile.sh to the desktop. So it's currently sitting in documents. We're going to move it to the desktop. We'll list the desktop to verify it's there. Then we'll remove the file. We'll move the file back to the documents folder. And then we'll also use the mv command or the move command to rename the file. So that's our plan for the next few moments. So if we do mv myfile.sh, and we're going to move it to desktop, so /home /devask/desktop, and hit enter. Now if we list the desktop, we should see our file. There we go. We see our myfile.sh. Now let's go ahead and move it back. So we'll do mv space /desktop /myfile.sh space myfile.sh. Now if we list it here, we should see it again. So basically we're moving the myfile.sh from the desktop back into our current working directory, which is the documents directory, which is what we did. So when we listed it, we saw it was back in here. So the first thing we did was move the my file to desktop. We verified it was in desktop. Then we moved it back using the move command again. In the command, the form is move from to. So we moved from the desktop directory to our current working directory, and in this case, our current working directory is documents, which is where we wanted to put the file. Now let's go ahead and rename it. We're going to rename it to actually rename. So we'll do mv space myfile.sh space myfile underscore rename. Renamed.sh. And we'll list the documents directory again, and we see that we no longer have myfile.sh. We have myfile underscore renamed.sh. We'll go ahead and use the copy command to make a copy of the file. So cp space myfile underscore renamed. We should have really made a copy before we made it long. Because you know I'm going to have a typo, which I just did. So cp myfile underscore renamed .sh. We're going to rename it to, or make a copy, sorry, wow. We're going to make a copy and copy that. The name of that copy is going to be myfile renamed and copied. So we take our file, myfile renamed.sh, and we make a copy called myfile renamed and copied.sh. If I didn't want to do this so that if you had trouble, you could go back and refer to this video. If you had trouble in your lab, I would totally make my name smaller here. I think I got it. So we renamed, or we made a copy. Oh gosh, I keep seeing the word rename, so I keep using it. We made a copy of my myfile renamed file, and we named that copy myfile renamed and copied. So we'll go ahead and list our directory again, and we can see both our files in there now. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to show how to remove a file. So we're going to remove the file that we just created with the rm command. So rm space myfile underscore renamed and copied .sh. I'll ask again to see that it's gone, and it is gone. We no longer have the renamed and copied file. Now we're going to use redirection. We're going to use the echo command with redirect to take some text and put it in a file. And then we can also take the file and redirect the contents of that file into another file. We'll use cat to do that, and then we'll also use cat to verify the contents of our files. So we're going to type echo, and Linux is... I'm not going to do it in all case. All right, you guys. Linux is awesome. And we're going to send that text to the linux.txt file. We can verify that it's there. That was right. So we created a file, a new file called linux.txt by using the echo command, typing the line of text I want to put in there. So echo Linux is awesome, and send that to the linux.txt file. We create a linux.txt file. To view it, we use the cat command. So cat linux.txt shows us what's in the file, which is Linux is awesome, which is what we typed here. So that's great. Now, let's redirect the context of our Linux file to another file. So we're going to use cat linux.txt, redirect linux to.txt. You know what's good about being in the classroom? If I make a typo, someone will look at me really funny, and I'll realize I did it. So this will be an interesting, as we go through and type these, if I made a typo, I've created a totally different file. So now let's view our Linux 2 text, cat linux 2.txt, and we see Linux is awesome there. So now let's add or append some more text to our Linux 2 file. So we'll use the echo command. Wow, see? Echo to append I love Linux. Gosh. I love Linux to our linux.to file. Wow, and that's not even close again. I think we should just go with the flow. And as long as the text I typed is actually in the file, then we're correct. All right, we're going to append it to the Linux to.txt file. Now let's see that both our lines are in there by doing the cat linux. Use cat with linux to.txt file. We see both our lines of text are in there, so we have successfully redirected text or put text into a file, created the file. We've created a second file by taking the first file and redirecting it into the second file. And then in the second file, we've appended another line of text. Now let's overwrite the contents of the file by using our single angle bracket instead of our double. So we used a double here to append. We're going to use our single angle to overwrite it. So let's do cat, I'm sorry, not cat, echo, oh dang it, echo, Linux is, Linus is too, I suppose, is powerful, right? And we're going to use the single. We're going to do that on the linux.txt file. And we'll verify it. So cat linux.txt. And we can see now Linux is powerful in there instead of Linux is awesome. Because remember, our original linux.txt had Linux, txt, I'm sorry. Linux is awesome in there. Using the echo command with only one angle bracket, we've overwritten what's in the linux.txt file. Now we're going to go ahead and use the vi text editor or vi text editor, whatever you prefer, to open the text file and do some things with it. So vi space linux 2.txt. I think I have my keyboard just a little off center because my microphone is out, because I noticed I keep hitting that extra U. So now we've opened it. We can see the text that's in it. Now let's change the text that's in it. So we'll issue the A command, which is going to allow us, you notice that it changed at the bottom. That's going to allow us to add some or add some text in there. Since we used A, it's going to append after the cursor's position. If I use the I key instead to enter edit mode, it's going to insert at the cursor's position. We're going to have to use escape key to enter command mode to like move around. So D will be for delete or cut it out. So now we want to go ahead. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to change Linux is awesome to Linux is Linux. And I am awesome. These guys are creative, that's for sure. Whoops. So let's go through. And what do we want to do? Linux is Linux. So I went to the end, I just hit backspace. Yeah, it's Linux is Linux. And then I am awesome. We can use all of their different, D's to delete, Y's to yank or copy, P will put or paste. And so we can use all those, but it's just easy to do it this way. Linux is Linux and I am awesome. I use the arrows. I just realized you guys can't see what I'm doing. I am sorry. I use the arrows to move around, right? So up and down, side to side. Oh yeah, look at that. And then I just used the backspace when I got to the end. So right now I'm at the end. And I just hit backspace to get rid of my exclamation point. Now I just added it in and just go ahead and type it in. No big deal. So now we want to save the text to a new file called linux3.txt. We'll need to be in the command mode by typing colon. So whoops. After typing escape. So we hit escape first. And then our shift colon. So now we're ready to go. We want to save it. So W space Linux 3, Renee, spell it. 3.txt. and hit enter. And then, whoops, I just hit something and got myself into, let's change that. We don't need to save it because we already saved it, but I accidentally got into editing. I hit a letter and got into editing. So let's hit escape again to get back into our, whoops, darn it. To get back into our command mode. Whoops, it didn't like that. Okay, hold on. All right, I know. Now it's mad at me. There we go. I also could have typed exit there. So let's do vi linux 3, the new file we created, right? linux3.txt. Go back in there after all that fumbling and bumbling because I'm probably a little bit distracted. Linux is Linux. I am awesome. So the first time I hit escape, and then I used the Q and I forced it with the exclamation. So escape, shift, Q, exclamation, I hit enter. Let's instead type exit and hit enter so we can do it either way. And we already saw it, but let's just use the cat command to verify. We only saw it because I went back through and after accidentally getting myself back into editing. There we go. Wanted to make sure that you first saw the file was correct, second saw 2 different ways to leave the file. And we do cat and we can see that what we want in there is in there. I'm going to stop this one right here because it's getting really long. I hate to go longer than 30 minutes on any video. Next, we're going to look at grep with regular expressions and then maybe some system administration stuff. I think we can probably get that done in a second video in 30 minutes or so. We'll see.